Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. So glad to be with you here on this Saturday evening from, I still can't remember the nickname for Orlando, but we're from Orlando, Florida, live coming to you from the East Coast. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful and blessed weekend. For those of you watching the replay, which is everybody at this point because nobody's jumped on, don't forget those bell notifications so you don't miss the next live, or just join us on the next replay. Happy to have you there as well. As you guys come in the front door, would mind thumbs up as you come in, sort of the bell by the door kind of thing, ding, ding, let you know I'm coming in. And we're going to have fun. I got some cool things to share with you, and always want to talk shop and hear what you guys are up to, answer any questions, all of that good stuff. Yep, there is a pre-roll, but I didn't say anything exciting at the beginning of the pre-roll. You will be happy to know I have banished mid-rolls from these lives because they're just awful. So, and I know pre-roll ads are terrible too, which is why, like I've said before, I don't say or do anything crazy important at the very, very, very beginnings. Thank you so much. Old Radios, Super Prince, Haunted Coachman, welcome in to everybody else. Go ahead and give me a shout out where you're watching from, what you're up to. And I've got some things to share with you. Did a bit of a haul, unexpected shopping trip recently in a faraway place. So I've got a story to tell. Super Prince is in NYC. Nikki, UK, Hastings. Excellent. WHHS, welcome in as well. I'm super stoked about my friends in the UK. I just think it's so, so cool. It is a dream of mine to go and visit someday. My wife and I last night made a unexpected trip over to Epcot, and she asked me, she says, what is your favorite country in World Showcase? Now, if you're not familiar with Epcot, it's one of the 4 theme parks in Walt Disney World. In Walt Disney World, if you're saying to yourself, isn't that just like Disneyland? It's different and much bigger. It's double the size of Manhattan. I mean, it's huge. And they have multiple theme parks, dozens of hotels and other things. So Epcot has 2 major parts. One is sort of the scientific center where there's rides about the right and left mind, creative and analytical side, scientific, earth science and things. And then they've got what's called World Showcase, and it's a giant lake, and around the lake are different pavilions from all different countries, and it's constantly growing. And so you've got a UK pavilion, you've got France, you've got the Netherlands, you've got all kinds of stuff. You've got Mexico, Canada, and all of those pavilions are it's hard to describe how much space. There's enough room for several buildings, usually multiple restaurants and multiple stores that are truly authentic to that region. And what's even cooler is the people that work those pavilions are from those countries. There's like a student exchange type of program. So if you go to France, all the people working back there are from France, and they'll happily tell you, about things. And you can eat, traditional French food. You can, do things that are related to that. Now there's the Disney touch. So like the France pavilion has the Ratatouille ride, stuff like that. Anyway, so my wife asked me, she says, what is your favorite country right now? And it's always changing, but the UK pavilion is still my number one favorite because it's the place I want to visit the most. I've got friends there, and I'm excited to. Someday we will be going there, and that will be amazing. So welcome in, everybody. Old Radio says it got a Sony TC252. Okay, I got to look that up. You probably did, but I don't recall off the top of my head what that is, but I'm sure it's awesome. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, the tape deck. Yeah, that's cool. You can't go wrong. Vintage Sony, right? Can't go wrong. Greg, welcome in, my friend. So glad you're here. Jerry says, Madeira getting the Beatles CD ready to ship. Champions Gate. Yes, we have our post office box down there. And if you want the specific address, go ahead and check that out. It's in the About tab and all that stuff. And then thank you very much, by the way. That's a huge blessing. Thank you so much. Old Radio says, I got 2 Betamax VCRs and 3 beta tapes coming. Awesome. Really, really cool. My friend, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but my friend Fardamark gave me two old Disney World VHS tapes, souvenir tapes when they used to have that, which is really cool. I wish they did. You can't buy physical media of any kind. You can't buy records. There, I've been told there may be a couple niche locations that have the picture disc, but pretty much you can't buy music. You used to be able to go to attractions, like individual attractions, and buy a CD soundtrack for that attractions. They were available nowhere else. That was super fun. Then there was like the Four Parks One World collection if you wanted like overall albums and stuff like that. Now it's all streaming. There's no video or audio, and pretty much no books you can buy. It's very hard to find books. Anyway, these back in the 80s and 90s, they did these souvenirs. So he sent me one for Epcot and one for Magic Kingdom. And if you're wondering what Magic Kingdom is, it's just think Disneyland, but double the size with some changes. Like the castle is like a full size castle instead of just, a smaller one. All right. Jerry says, once you get all three of the CDs, could you put together a video? Yes, I will. Absolutely, Jerry. Thank you so much. I'd be happy to do that. Now, which one are we talking? Didn't you say you were sending over? You were sending over Anthology 1, I believe it was, because I have Anthology 3, and I'd still need to find Anthology 2. Super Prince said, I just recorded the Beatles' 20th anniversary. We'll email you a copy. Wow, that's great. I would really appreciate that, Super Prince. Thank you so much. That would be a blessing. WHHS says, I've discovered something unique in my collection. Unlike most stereo records, which has stereo written on them, I have a Skeptor record that has stereomonic. What? Sounds unholy. Stereomonic. That sounds interesting. I've never come across that. I have seen my Patsy Cline Greatest Hits 2016 has if you're a Decca collector or MCA collector, the Decca label would say at the top, the rainbow label would say 33 RPM if it was mono, and it would say stereo on top if it was stereo. And they released the 2016 album in stereo, but with the mono label, which is kind of fun. Oh, Scepter record. That's cool. That's really interesting. That's cool, Jerry. Thank you so much. Oh, that's great, Super Prince. Thank you so much, too. Best sounding version of the Beatles 2009 remaster, surprisingly. I have some of those, and I love them so very, very much. But I also like the older versions, too. I mean, I'm still a baby in the Beatles world. And again, I'm trying not to go to full Beatle mode, but we will be talking about them today. So the reason why we're gathered here today is I made several acquisitions. I wonder what a couple of these are. We recently made a short trip up to Tennessee. And while there, I was informed of a store called McKay's, which turns out to be a chain. They're in North Carolina and Tennessee there. So I went to the Chattanooga one, and I did a short, and I've never been so overwhelmed walking into a shop before. Now, it's not just a record shop. If it was, and that was all vinyl you saw, then that would have been, I don't even know, that would have been Mecca for vinyl collectors. But this was a combination of, it's kind of like Second and Charles, like books, video games, Funko Pops, kind of like collectibles and vinyl and electronics. It's kind of what it was, like a private, not so corporate version of Second and Charles. That being said, it was still amazing, and they had a great selection. So I went in there and I spent, I'll tell you the prices on all these as we go through, less than $50. I did get CDs, and I know this is a Record-ology, not CD-ology, but you guys know I love CDs, so I couldn't help myself because the prices were just so I could get a lot more for my money, and I was feeling like I wanted to bulk up on some of these things, so I decided to go that route. So that's what I did, and I could totally go back and do the vinyl version and come up with an awesome haul as well. So I'm going to go through those. We'll talk about why I picked each one. A couple might surprise you. Most of them probably won't. And we'll just kind of talk through them. Hope you guys enjoyed the short I did on the crazy album covers. That was fun to put that together. I really enjoyed. I was like, should I do this? Some of them pretty bad, but it was fun. It was funny. I had been toying with that idea for a couple of months. I had those images saved off on my phone for a while. I'm like, I need to either delete these or put up the video. And I was thinking, do I do a long form? And my wife is like, it'd be hilarious if you recreated all of those, which would, but it would take an exorbitant amount of time, I think, to do that. I could be the puppet, all this stuff. Yeah, some crazy ones in there. Crazy. Apparently, a couple of them were fake, which I didn't realize. Like um, the James Mason and the Chipmunks Learn to Smoke apparently isn't real. I thought that was pretty wild, but hey, smoking was like a major way of life in the 50s and 60s, right? I just thought that was odd. Anyway, funny stuff. Old Radio says the funniest thing I got is that music for the Swinging Mothers LP, but it was actually a joke birthday card. Oh, that's hilarious. Anthony says a lot of originals sound muddy though through. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and those 2009 remasters are amazing. I want to ask, did you ever get a chance to listen to the Patsy Cline? Super Prince, you sent me that. Yes, I did, and I loved it. That was the I apologize if I didn't respond to you, Super Prince, but yes, absolutely. I downloaded that. That is the greatest hits album, and I love it. And those are really good recordings that you made off of your copy there. So that was really, really cool. Yeah, I've got a lot of copies of that particular album, and there's a new one coming out. I wrote to unfortunately, I had a media contact at Universal Music that I worked with a couple of times for some Frank Sinatra releases a couple of years ago. And unfortunately, they left UME, and the new UME person so far hasn't been quite as responsive, which is a major bummer because as soon as they got into place, I said, if you guys ever do a Patsy Cline, birthday release, which is what they like to do, like 50th anniversary, 60th anniversary, whatever, let me know, because there's probably no bigger Patsy Cline record collector maniac on YouTube. And she's like, well, this is earlier this year, we have no plans, but if something does materialize, check out the Newswire. So I subscribed to the Newswire, which is basically the PR Newswire, not theirs. I mean, just like the PR Newswire. And if you sign up for that, anybody can do it. You get like 5,000 emails a day with press releases related to anything that you put a keyword in on. And she's like, that's the only way you'll find out. So I'm like, okay, that's inconvenient. But so I did that. I had it for months. It was just clogging my inbox. I finally got rid of it. And I had a guy, an acquaintance that I knew. This guy had a lot of back info. He's the one that told me a lot of the behind the scenes history and why things were done a certain way and things when it comes to Patsy Cline and other artists' record releases. And he told me that there was a rumor inside the industry that there was some sort of birthday release coming. I think it was he. Was it he, or did the lady at UME tell? Somebody told me there was a birthday release slated for some time because it was an anniversary year for her. So I had this loose thought that at the end of the year, there would be something released. Sure enough, it starts popping up, and it's going to be another version of the greatest hits album. It's the same album, but it's going to be like on a frosty white vinyl, and it's going to be with an all new sort of modern album cover. Really cool. I'd like to get my hands on one. I will get my hands on one of those. You have to buy it from their website too. Apparently they're not doing Amazon. So, yeah, that's good. Do you guys hear my bird screeching in the back? I hope not. If you do, let me know, and I'll put his blanket over his cage because sometimes he likes to. He spends most of his time standing on his cage or doing whatever, or flying around even sometimes. So, but yeah, that's what made me think of that. Songs for swinging mothers. Anthony says, if you love Chicago, definitely need the Chicago X MoFi. It didn't do a version yet. Wait. MoFi didn't do a version yet, and it's beyond digital sound. Completely glorious. I have to check that out. I do like Chicago, and I'll have to check that out. Anthony says the original. Very cool. Yes. I'll have to check that out. Jerry says, I consider any type of recording a record, even during the period when records were not available in stores. Recording artists called their new releases records. I would tend to agree. Anthony also says, I just never heard the Beatles originals apart from some quality was pretty bad. And what do you think about that split track stereo where it's vocals on one side and music on the or instrumental on the other? And the Mamas and the Papas did it. I heard recently that those mixes were never intended for consumer use because that's off-putting. You got the music on one side, and I think that's what led a lot of people to sort of become fans of the mono remasters because it kind of blended those. I heard that those split track stereo mixes were actually designed for engineering. I think one of you guys told me this recently, actually. They were designed for engineering purposes to down mix a stereo, like a multi-channel stereo mix. That way they could have isolation of the vocal channels away from the instrumentals. Oh yeah, dude, I totally enjoyed it. It was awesome. Raindrops keep falling on my head. Wasn't that written by Burt Bacharach? Record-ology, next time you should have Miss Record-ology on the live chat. We might just do that. WHHS Entertainment. Was that Yoshi? Yes, it was. Could you hear him? If so, I apologize. Jerry says, I have Shania Twain come on over on CD. Says over 60 minutes of music 25 years ago. I said that would be a double record if it released on vinyl. Just saw her at Walmart. And indeed was a 2-hour. Interesting. Yeah, that's a great album. That's like a, I heard it stated that who was it? It was a punk rock guy who turned into a swing band with like a rock and roll guitar. Brian Setzer. Yeah, Brian Setzer, one of his favorite albums. He says every song on there is good, and I agree. That's been one of my favorites for years. Betamax VCRs are from 77 and 85. Oh, wow. Are they working? I guess that's the next question. I love when the tracks are split. I'm trying to get better at I still prefer them over mono, I think. That's how my setup is hooked up. And you call that pan. Okay, interesting. Larry, welcome in. Thank you for moderating. Larry's sporting the moderator wrench. And also stylish R, designating that he is indeed a member of the Record-ology membership program. Inner Circle is what we're calling it, I think. And I appreciate that. For the low cost of, I think, 99 cents a month, you too can sport a cool art and get to use exclusive emojis. Although I'm kind of fascinated what system Greg is using to come up with these cool ones that he's been using as well. They look very, very cool. Burt Bacharach and Hal David. Okay, yeah, so I was on the right track. Imagine if those Beatles tracks were split 4 ways, like quadraphonic. That would be crazy. It's amazing how different UK versus US Beatles albums are. And that's one thing, Nikki, I learned so much about. And I decided to go for the UK albums. So all of my Beatles stuff are UK variants. However, now that I've got all of them in one form or another, I do like the album artwork for Help, the US version, the capital version of Help better. I think it's cool. It's a cooler with the yellow kind of letters and everything. I think that's really, really cool. But yeah, more songs, apparently better source material overall. Although I've been told that some people, the capital versions of certain things are more desirable. Still learning, still exploring that. Hey, you can pan it to the left and then pan it to the right. Hence when you heard Patsy claiming and it's all pan left side of it. Yeah, very cool. I had good, yeah, you can kind of mix it the way you want it. That's cool. I had a good Beta Machine break on me this past week. That's not good. Everything sounds even. Interesting. Capitol did that with a lot of other artists like Dean Martin. Oh, I was saying Mamas and Papas too had a lot of that split track. Interesting. Dean Martin. I love Dino. Gosh, I love some Dino. So Betamax model Fardermark has. Okay, yeah, he got a new one, a big old one, like a huge tank of one, and recently had to send it off for repair. When did Quadraphonic Records first release? Larry, I feel like when you ask me these questions, you well know the answer, and you're quizzing me. And I'm going to get this one wrong because I don't know. But I think it was a 70s thing. And I don't know if it was early. I want to say early-ish 70s. And cool idea. And I have a couple quadraphonic records. and later SLHF 900. We can't really pan CDs or any digital file. That's true. What's up from North Florida, Teddy? I probably just drove through your neck of the woods, Teddy. Went up to Tennessee for a spell and came back down. Camel vinyl, not the ones that broke. Those are the ones I ordered, 1970s. Dolby Surround. And indeed it was. Quad was first on reel-to-reel. 69. I knew you knew the answer. Reason many CDs are already digitized. Okay. So keep the chat going. I appreciate everybody being here. I want to start on my haul video. So again, I got these in Chattanooga this past week and just loved it. Check out the short if you haven't seen it. I kind of give a quick overview. The first thing I picked up was That's Entertainment. And I love with a passion, and they're gone, erased from history. I never, ever knew that during the 90s, we were living through the golden age of movie music soundtracks because Turner Classic Movies and Turner Classic Music, and you can see the logo right down there, Turner Classic. We're releasing these soundtracks, everything MGM. I mean, it's like Wizard of Oz, Singing in the Rain, all of these things. And they all had very similar design cues, like this banner at the top, which slowly peaks down at the middle. And again, the artwork, they're lush, they're full of artwork, and fascinating. The booklets are chock full of photographs. I have this on vinyl too. And actually, I have somewhere, although in my haste, when I went through the stupid phase of throwing away all my jewel cases, I had the part 3, which is actually my favorite. That's Entertainment. But anyway, picked this up $3.99. I didn't have the first version, volume 1, on CD, and I needed it. $3.95, $3.95 is a no-brainer. Yeah, 95, 96, 97 is when these were coming out. Now the label's been closed. It's all released somewhere else now. I think Sony. It's probably conglomerated through. It's probably through UME. I'm not sure, but anyway, I had to pick this up. Rhino Movie Music, Turner Classic Movies. That's Entertainment. It's basically the best of the MGM musicals. So it's songs from MGM musicals. Things like "Get Happy" by Judy Garland, "Over the Rainbow," "Old Man River" from Showboat, the Trolley Song, also by Judy Garland, the Varsity Drag, Easter Parade, Honeysuckle Rose, On the Atchison in Topeka, Santa Fe, all kinds of stuff. I also have a really cool Turner album of Lena Horne, her MGM musicals, but I just love these things. And there wasn't an infinite amount of these made. I mean, they released, from what I've been able to tell, maybe 20 different albums, maybe 30. And I remember picking these up at Media Play back in the 90s and just thinking how well produced and how visually appealing and collectible and well done and high quality they were. And now I know that era has just gone. Now, any physical media is just gone. But having this in my hands and reading through the booklet and listening to it is such a different experience than streaming it. Yeah, I can go on Apple Music and tap and stream all that stuff, but it's just not the same. Cassettes and reel-to-reel and vinyl you can pan. Teddy's in Lake City. Come check it out sometime. Yep, been through there. Beautiful town. $23.90. Yeah, see, exactly, Jerry. If I would have got the record, I would have blown half the budget I spent. So $4. CDs are just so cheap. I can't help myself. Scott says, I had that on double album, and I think there's a volume 2. Yeah, there was 3 movies. That's Entertainment 1, 2, and 3. The music from the third one is my favorite. Turner owned MGM and Warner Brother movies. Yep, that's right, Larry. Teddy Phillips says, got a good haul of CDs last week at a Humane Society thrift shop. Hopefully that's not really theft shop. I'm sure you mean thrift shop. That would be, can you imagine? Oh, come on, check out our new theft shop. We got best hot merch in town. No, that's cool. That's really cool. Old Radio says, funniest thing was Sony got sued for the Betamax by a company they now own. Oh, you want something even crazier than that? Back to Beatles really quickly. The Apple Corp got sued by Apple Corporation, Computer Corporation, for using the Apple logo, which they created, which Apple Records created. And that's why there wasn't Beatles music on iTunes for so long, till I think 2012, 2011, something like that. And now Apple Corp, Beatles company, the record company, they have to license the use of the Apple from Apple computers, from Steve Jobs. It's just crazy, even though it was theirs originally. Sorry, I got that wrong. I didn't have the album. It was a double album of the songs and hit musicals on MGM label in the early 70s. Yeah, that's such good stuff. Amazon now owns MGM. Really? That's crazy. By the way, if I miss any comments, I apologize. Jack of all trades, Mercury, love media play, the 90s. What a great time to live. Man, it was fun. I love media play. It was so fun. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Jerry says, I think he really means theft. It really means theft shop? Oh, my goodness. That's an interesting thing. I've never heard of such a thing. WHHS Entertainment says, heard of Leeds Talkophone Records? Talkophone sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Do tell. Apple Corps created in 68. Yeah. People are hating on the thrift stores today. No, I don't think they're hating on them. I think that they're just, I think that it was a typo. I love thrift stores. All right, next choice, $1.95. Now, Patsy Cline music. There's a couple things in here. I'm preparing you. I've got all of the. There's a lot easier to collect than Beatles because there's just a lot less albums released because unfortunately she had a short career. So there's a lot of bootlegs and a lot of third party, a lot of aftermarket, a lot of licensed stuff. And sometimes I'll just pick things up because it's a cool design or it's packaged in a unique way or something. Sometimes they do include unique cuts or versions of things. But this was cool. So this is Patsy Cline, I Can't Forget, $1.95. It's a 2-disc set, and that's why I picked this up. Well, $1.95, I would have picked this up anyway, even if it was just a single disc. But what's cool is it's got a CD and a DVD. So there's a DVD documentary and a full kind of greatest hits. And I can tell you right now, the company, like this is a 2005 BCA, a Navarre Corporation company, all rights reserved. And, I'm not sure how the licensing was handled or not handled, but oftentimes the more, how do I say this? The more unofficial a release is for Patsy Cline music, the more they will use her 4-star record material versus the Decca material. So looking at this off the top of my head, yeah, this is mostly early material. But anyway, it's a cool package. It's funny on here. It says photographs it's a 40-minute documentary, by the way. So I started watching. I haven't finished it yet. There's no booklet. It's a typical fold down paper thing, but it's got a nice, it was amazing how long it took them to figure out that we could, double up the capacity for a single jewel case to hold more than one disc. You didn't need to do these huge, thick things. Same thing with DVDs. Like I just happen to have this. This is one of the complete seasons of Home Improvement on DVD. And, back in the day, it was like they'd sell this with one DVD in it. And now it can store 3 discs. And actually they could do 4 because they could overlap it like that. And I've even seen them do more than that in a single, low profile case. The storage that they are able to do these days is amazing. I've got the complete 3 Stooges on DVD, and it's only in a double size because they've got them on a spindle inside there. So anyway, yeah, Patsy Cline, $1.95. What do you guys think? Was that a good deal? They're like $1.50 each. Jerry says, my local Goodwill is selling all media. Oh my goodness. 25 cents. They trying to get rid of it? Go stock up. You could probably do a good resale business. Charlie Brown Christmas also had a CD and DVD package. Boy, that's been released a lot of times. That's great stuff. Tim Allen's in the house. Hey, Tim Allen. Mr. Record-ology. Rhino put out 3 Patsy Cline albums, and I have been looking for those on vinyl for many years. Rhino did? Okay, I got to look this up. By the way, thank you for jumping on. Rhino Records, Patsy Cline. Oh, is this? Oh, I know what these are. Yes. Those are the first recordings. And I have one of them. I do have one on CD, not on vinyl. Those are cool. Those are really, really cool. They're easily identifiable too with that artwork. That's awesome. Welcome in. Teddy says, press a button, didn't mean to press. No, you're good, man. You're good. WHHS Leeds was known for some of their records being unauthorized copies of pre-existing singles. The Leeds records all have gold labels. Very, very interesting. Speaking of labels, I want to go back really quickly to the Turner. Oh, I don't have it in here. I'll just pop it out of the CD player. The screen printing that they use on the actual disc is amazing. Oh, cool. I've got the Lena Horne one in here too. I want to show these to you. So this is the actual disc of That's Entertainment. And I just want you to look at the quality of that. It's a screen printed disc, which is fantastic. And this is the Lena Horne one. I remember listening to this in high school. I just love this album. Lena Horne, just so good music. Same thing, Turner Classic, Rhino Music. And I don't have the case for that available, so I'm going to put that back. Try not to use my CD changer as a storage tray, but it happens. I like to savor the whole experience, not just the packaging and the music, the history, but the actual execution, you know, the printing of the disc. Okay, next up, I picked up is, hold on here. I want to get caught up on, I'm trying to stay caught up here as I go. Did you get anything from Amazon? I did not do Amazon Prime this time around. I did it last time. I know they did like the second or third one. I probably should have. I just didn't get around to it. I was traveling earlier this week, so I might have missed it because of that too. Back in the day, complete seasons would come in huge box sets. Each disc had its own case. Yeah, and I've noticed that for like Star Trek, and I've wanted to, like the early Star Trek Next Generation complete sets, it's like this library of cases, especially if you did it on VHS. That was a bookshelf of tapes, maybe multiple bookshelves. And now it's like, I've got the original series, Star Trek complete series, complete season, 3 seasons, which is only 3, so that makes it easier. And it's in a case about that wide. And I keep looking over here because that's where a lot of the stuff is stored. But you're right. And like the older versions of Next Generation, there's a whole shelf. And then the newer versions, it's in a much more compact thing. And I think it makes sense for them too, because it's cheaper for them to produce, less material. It's cheaper for them to ship. The logistics costs go down. I'm so glad that not only even taking vinyl out of the conversation, taking, audio out of the conversation, taking records out of the conversation. What I'm trying to say is that we still have physical media there are still CDs being made. There are still DVDs and Blu-rays being made. I'm so thankful for that. And I feel like we're just it's like the end of that era. Well, pretty soon it'll, and maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll keep growing. And I know that there's been a CD resurgence, but we'll see. Teddy Phillips got Forrest Gump soundtrack. Yes, I had that too on CD. I don't know where it is anymore, but I did have that. And what a great playlist of Americana. Super Prince says the Patsy Cline Greatest Hits is on the MCA label. Yes. And so it went through like this chain of custody. Originally on Decca, and Decca got bought by MCA, and then MCA got folded into UME, and now it's all UME. I've got a version of each. Scott says that picture of That's Entertainment CD is from the movie The Bandwagon. That's right. Jerry says, miss your granite countertop videos. Yes. Oh, man, that was like the trademark signature thing. I was afforded the opportunity to actually build out a studio when we moved into this house. And so we were able to build out some things that we really wanted to have for the show. And one of those was a dedicated studio. And it was decided to use the wood grain dedicated kind of counter height table. So it seems to be working good. I think it looks good on camera. But yes, I miss that too. And every time, and we may do some more. I still got granite in the kitchen. So we will go over there, do some videos. I did the very first couple when we moved here from there because the studio hadn't been built out yet. And the studio is a work in progress at all times. Still needs more acoustic treatment. It's still too echoey in there. But I remember I would lose screws and C-clips and things, and the granite would just vanish. It's great for hiding things. But if you got down to eye level, you'd be like, holy cow, I need to wipe this table down, this counter down. Old Radio says, I remember the mid-2000s was peak TV on DVD era. Yes, I love it. I love to own copies of my favorite shows and music. Super Prince says, I recently found that Viva La Vida Coldplay on vinyl in the thrift stores. That's odd you would find something that popular at a thrift store. Mint condition with the booklet and poster, a Euro copy. Oh, that's a good find. I remember when Seinfeld came to DVD, it was a huge deal. Scott says, I have a copy of the original Star Trek on DVD, and you can pick to watch the original form or the newly digital version. Yeah, where they made the planets and the atmospheres look a little better. For that, by the way, I'm in team new remastered version. I'm totally fine with the new versions. Of course, that's if it's available. If not, I won't not watch it if it has the original. I like it all. I just love it. Stefan, welcome in, by the way, says, got the Partridge Family completed DVD set today. That's awesome. Super Prince snagged that record for $150. Wow, what a haul. Jerry says, did the spines of your Star Trek TOS make the Star Trek logo across seasons? No, it's a here, I'll show you which one. Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. I think this is the new version, and it's Blu-ray. So it's this. I don't even know what kind of case this is, but check this out. This thing is loaded with discs. And I also have Paramount Plus, so usually just for convenience sake, I will watch it that way. But that's amazing packaging engineering that they can store that much in there. So yeah, Blu-ray. And I really want Next Generation. That's probably my favorite series. Jack of all trades, Mercury. The 2024 Best Buy will stop. Is that what they said? Did they announce that? Super Prince says, I dislike CDs. I have nothing against them. It's just not my cup of tea. I own 10 CDs. No, I get it. You know, for me, it's nostalgic. So part of it is liking the actual thing. And the other part is I have good memories of it. So I totally get that. Record collecting and movie collecting started as a niche thing, and it's heading back to being a niche thing again now. I tend to agree with that. Those E-clips hiding in the camo of the countertop. Exactly. Old Radio says that was a 2004. I remember everything being put out on DVD. Yep. Usually in stages. Like this year it's season 1, next year season 2. And then they'd release like everything. Same thing with the Home Improvement. I got all the Home Improvement seasons. I love that show. My all-time favorite TV show. WHHS says, have there been records you like to get just for the artwork or the paper label? Yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes I'll want a version that has a certain artwork. Absolutely. Scott says, I forgot I have all 3 volumes of the original Star Trek on Blu-ray when it was first released. Yeah. Larry says, Best Buy is stopping to sell physical media soon. They haven't had CDs for a while that I've seen, and the DVDs are relegated. Usually, from what I've seen at Best Buy, at least the ones, actually back in Colorado too, it was like in the back corner, there would be like maybe 100, maybe 50 UHD discs, which I don't even have a UHD player. Blu-rays, I may never get anything above a Blu-ray player because I don't want to start buying another video format. Blu-ray was like my last hurrah, you know what I mean? And I like the fact that Blu-ray was backwards compatible. But yeah, there's like 50 different UHD discs. I haven't seen CDs at Best Buy forever. Remember the middle of the store used to just be CDs and video? And remember when shopping for software was fun because they used to come in big cardboard boxes? Miss those days. That's the new version of Star Trek. Yeah, I figured as much. Stopping selling online, too. This can't compete with Amazon, probably. Jerry said, just received classic Doctor Who. I Love Lucy, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, and Knight Rider on Blu-ray. Very awesome. We did a video recently on my wife's channel where we actually saw maybe 3 of the original Knight Rider cars kit. Jerry says, got Twilight Zone in a box set Blu-ray like your Star Trek. That's cool. Best Buy said at the end of 2023 holiday season, stop selling DVDs and Blu-rays. Man, that's a bummer. If your name was Tim Allen, you might not like Home Improvement so much. I remember I used to give you grief about that. I used to be like, how's Al? I'm sure you're so sick of that, man. I'm sure you're so sick of that. I'm sorry, but I love Tim the Toolman Taylor, too. Super Prince says, I have a Blu-ray collection also. Scarface, Back to the Future. Yeah, Back to the Future. I got that on Blu-ray. I don't have a huge Blu-ray collection, but those are some of the ones I have. Blues Brothers, yes. Blu-ray version of Can't see it. Hold on. Dick Van Dyke on Blu-ray. That would be great. Okay. Last Nas standing. Last man standing, I think is what you meant. Okay, next choice for $1.95. I have purchased and acquired another series that I really enjoy. Classic Frank Sinatra's Christmas album. I believe this is 59. This is the Capitol reissues that, again, were huge during the 90s. $1.95. Let me get this out of its case so you can see it without the glare. Jolly Christmas from Frank Sinatra. I have it on compact cassette, and I would love to find the vinyl record of it someday, but $1.95 for the CD. Sign me up. Like one side of the record or one side of the album is religious, the other side are secular. So it's got a little something for everybody. And you guys know I'm a huge Christmas freak, so I'll listen to Christmas all year round. Decent liner notes. And it's that classic Capitol reissue style label with a beautiful screen printing on there. Absolutely beautiful. And it's the Entertainer of the Century series. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see it in the spine there. I liked it when CDs went to the clear spine. I thought that was really cool. New York on 45. That's cool. That's really cool. My absolute favorite version of Jingle Bells is that Sinatra Christmas album I have. The OG Christmas UK. Wow, that's cool. I'm hoping to pick it up someday. Early on in the channel, I remember I was reviewing vinyl that I would rent from the library. And that was fun. I did that one once. That was fun. You could literally rent vinyl from the library. And that was 2015, 2017, 2018. Okay, next up, we have a oddball. Bit of a bootleg. No, this isn't a bootleg. I think it's fully legit. Never mind. It's not a bootleg. $1.95. The old time radio show, not the movie soundtrack, but the old time radio version of It's a Wonderful Life. This is the story acted out, and this is from the famous Lux Radio Theater. Then the reason why I say it's legit is it's released by Radio Spirits. If you ever see Radio Spirits, that's fully licensed, fully legit. I love how the price is permanently printed on the back there. What was this release? 2000. It's a Wonderful Life, starring James Stewart and Donna Reed. Lux Radio Theater would hire back the actors that played their parts in their movies, and they would recreate it in a somewhat condensed form, an hour, for radio. So It's a Wonderful Life, the old-time radio show version. And yes, you can get this for free all over the internet, but the idea of having a physical copy, I liked that. They did another version, which was 30 minutes. It wasn't Lux Radio Theater. It was another old-time radio show version of it. And they had also similar actors. I think they didn't have Donna Reed, but they had Jimmy Stewart, I think. But this is good. It's got different tonality and performances, totally unique audio, and interesting pressing. This is all commercial pressing. It's not, none of these are even these not bootleg, but cheaper releases aren't burned or anything like that. I wouldn't buy a burned disc. If I'm going to buy a optical disc, I want it to be pressed. But I love old time radio. Super Prince says record collecting is so hard because some vinyl are so expensive. Yes, I have a question for you. You ever bought from Discogs? I have not. I use Discogs exclusively for research, and I need to buy from there and probably document that process. The prices seem oddly, affordable, and I don't know. I know a lot of people do that though, so I don't know. Joe Dexter, welcome in. Random question for you. I'm building up my Christmas collection. Any underrated choices or faves? I have a lot of the popular ones. Joe, that's a great question. I love Christmas music so much. I need to do a show on some of my favorite Christmas albums. Go back and look at our channel. We love Christmas. We've done Vlogmas for multiple years. We've done both on my channel, my wife's channel. And by the way, there's a link to her channel in one of the tabs on our banner if you want to check that out. But yeah, we need to do that because I've got a ton of Christmas stuff I like. One that comes to mind, and it's out of print. It is the Santa Claus, the score from the Santa Claus. So the orchestral music from the 1993. Sorry, Tim Allen, but Tim Allen film that Disney did, the Santa Claus. Some of the most beautiful orchestrated music you will ever hear. Obviously, I like Charlie Brown Christmas. I like all the Rankin Bass stuff. Got all that on vinyl. All of those things. But there's a lot of sort of unique things. But we've got probably hundreds of videos now at this point about Christmas music. So check those out. And yes, we will do more. One of the library here had the complete Glenn Miller set you can take out, but they were so messed up from others checking it. Oh, man. Well, that's cool you could do that, though. That was neat. I don't think that the Denver library system had that. Funky Frank and Lil Raymond. I like that. I got horror movies in Blu-ray, Hellraiser 1 and 2, and Jeepers Creepers, Leprechaun, all collections on Blu-ray. Blu-ray collecting is a whole thing. And it's like they buy, sell, and trade them just like people do with records. And that's really cool. Superprint says, just be careful with imported vinyl, especially from Japan. There's a lot of bootleg. Yeah, it's true. I use to catalog old radio, says, and I am not disciplined enough to go in there and enter that. A lot of people use Discogs for that. Check of all trades, Johnny Mathis. Oh, Johnny Mathis Christmas album. I've got 2 versions of that. That's an interesting. I did a video on that. There was 2 versions. One was a mono, one was a stereo version, I think, of that album. And he did other albums too. But yeah, that's it. Nat King Cole. Any of the Rat Pack, Sammy Davis Jr. If you had Andy Williams Christmas music is mandatory. Do I have any Natalie Cole? I may have her on a compilation. The soundtrack to Elf is another sleeper. And when I say sleeper, I mean it's one that you wouldn't expect to be good, or it's an absolutely fantastic Christmas album. So get that. I've got it on green vinyl. I think she might be on one of my compilations. Tim Allen has more Christmas records than more people. Really? I didn't know you were into Christmas records, Tim. That's cool. That's really cool. We need to talk shop on Christmas records. That's cool. A lot of Christmas music too. One of my favorites is Burt Camford Christmas. Absolutely. Burt Camford, Mitch Miller Christmas. What's the other one? That's some singers. They're always on the air. Yeah, I listen to Christmas radio. There was a Christmas music snippet in the 90s, Schmidt Furniture. Oh, that's interesting. I have to look that up. Album the Chipmunks Christmas. Yes. Christmas with the Chipmunks. I've got that too. That's a great record. Andy's Christmas music album. Andy Williams. Yep. Oh, I love the specials. I love one of my favorites is if you like Judy Garland. Judy Garland's got some Christmas specials on. There's this one where her kids are on there singing, and they have everybody stop by. It's set up to look like a house. Oh man, I love that stuff. Red Skelton. That's different. That's not singing, but you know what I mean. I love all that stuff. Mitch Miller, yes. Mitch Miller. Ray Conniff. That's what I was thinking of. Ray Conniff. I need more Ray Conniff. I went heavy on Mitch Miller, and I need to bulk up on Ray Conniff. Man, I'm Steamroller. Yes. Man, I'm Steamroller is mandatory. I've got that as well. The specials, the ska punk group. I think you're asking somebody else at the club I DJ at. We did a skit of the Chipmunks Christmas song. That's cool. Believe it or not, Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas album is very expensive. Hey, I want to show you something. I got that album. And I got a special version of it. I got to show you guys that too. Hold on. I'll be back in a second. You guys got me all excited about Christmas music. Oh, that's a good one. I'm just picking out a couple Christmas records. Okay, that's it. I'm going to be here for hours if I don't limit myself. Okay, so we have... Let me put the camera back on. Hello. All right, so talking about these really quickly. So yes, the Mariah Carey album. And I know there's a whole thing, Mariah Carey, the famous meme of her going back into the sea. But this is a great album. The whole thing is good. And the version that I have is extra cool because I got this. My wife got this for me, I think last year or maybe the year before, as a Christmas gift. This is what was the Target exclusive. And still cost even new old stock at Second and Charles, like $25-$30. This is a red and green and white splatter on clear Columbia release. Probably the coolest looking record that I have. Isn't that cool? I love that. No shame. I'll play Mariah Carey all year. I love this stuff. I do like modern music too, some of it. So this is one that fits right in there. Older Jimmy Buffett out. I actually don't have much Jimmy Buffett. I have the Cheeseburger in Paradise on 45, and I need to get bulked up on that as well. I've got the greatest hits. I think, man, and I love Jimmy Buffett, but I'm a greatest hits Jimmy Buffett fan. So that one album that, it's a famous greatest hits album of his, does it for me. I've got everything I need on there so far. But that's what I thought about the Beatles. So maybe someday I'll, discover more of his music and want to find more. Okay, I picked a couple other Christmas albums I want because we're on the topic really quickly. Then we'll get back to the haul. This is also becoming mandatory. Dolly Parton. This is a very fun record. Very, very fun. The song with Jimmy Fallon is absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. On white vinyl. Very cool. Good packaging. Quality pressings. Anybody planning to get the new rock and roll album that she's coming out with? I'm undecided. I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. I kind of like Country Dolly. She can do anything she wants now. She can release an album of cats meowing and people would buy it. Since we were just talking about it, mandatory Christmas album, I would highly recommend Elf. I think we gave away a copy of this a couple of years ago, a new copy of this. But this album, look at the playlist. If you like Christmas music, now you may be saying, yeah, there's some good things on there, but there's some things I don't recognize. Even the ones you don't recognize, you will have heard. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's great. I just didn't know what it was called. And this one is pressed on a gorgeous blue disc with a hilarious picture of Will Ferrell. So that's a great one to have. Ooh, I think that was a Walmart exclusive pressing, and it was not bad. It was like, I think I paid like $18 or $19 for that, which, yeah, that's expensive, but it could have been worse. There's also a really cool liner note that comes with it, a letter from the director. Fantastic Christmas album, which I just dropped. Next and last record, but I want to share it with you. I picked this up last year right after Halloween because it would come in very handy this Halloween, and I've had it on the channel a couple of times, is the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown soundtrack album. This is a very interesting record. People say it looks like an apple, not a pumpkin, but it's a pumpkin. Come on. Although it could be this, whatever the shape is or die that they use for this, the die cut could be doubled as an apple, but you can tell that it's actually just a 12-inch record. If you look around the edges, like down here especially, you can see the lip, and they literally just chiseled it away. And then that happens to be a 10-inch pressing. So if you have a changer, like I put this on the SLB5 and I put it on the 10-inch record setting, it drops perfect spot, and it sounds fantastic. Fantastic. It's a gorgeous pressing. And it's modulated really tight. It must be a DMM recording because they've crammed so much music on this thing. I mean, look at the playlist on this thing. Look at the playlist. There's alternate takes. It's crazy. Like, you'd be like, oh, man, it's funky shapes. You don't get that much music. No, it's full of music. It's just easily enough music to fill up a regular album. Okay, let's get caught up here, and then I will jump back into the haul. We're about halfway through on the haul. And I'm just having fun, guys. Just having fun. With all the equipment you've built up through the years, do you ever sell any of it? I do sell. I do give away. Absolutely. We do a lot of giveaways on the channel. We give away to charity. We sell. We hoard. No, we don't hoard. We try not to hoard. But I do have more record players than I need. But I try to keep it interesting for the show. I think I've got quite a few of those Raycon albums, if that tickles your fancy, I might send them over. That would be great. WHHS. I love Ray Conniff, and I may have one. I don't even know if I have one. So yeah, if you could send that over, that would be appreciated. Taylor Swift vinyl are expensive as well. Yeah, the pop stuff is premium expensive. Yep, that's the album Super Prince. Yeah, that's the one, right? A lot of Ray Conniff CDs and albums, says Scott. That's awesome. Time to defrost Mariah Carey. Yeah, Michael Bublé. He's got a great voice. At first, I thought he was too cocky, but then it grew on me, and I realized he actually is very reverent about the heritage that he is stepping into with that genre of music. And now I'm a huge fan. His voice has always just been like incredible. But yeah, time to defrost Mariah Carey. Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, there's this great meme where she's walking back into the ocean until next year. Ben Guy says, I've been looking for older Jimmy Buffett. Oh, I think I read that already. Like I said, I need to get more Jimmy Buffett. Have all the Mitch Miller sing-along albums except for a couple of them. I've got a bunch. That's the ones I really bulked up on. Percy Faith, yes. Do you have any Blue Note jazz records? I do. I need to share those. I own that Dolly Parton as well. It's a vinyl. Yep. Mm-hmm. Buffett's early stuff is really good. After the Volcano album started sliding, and all went into the island music. Saw the movie in theaters when it was new 20 years ago. I just got the Sinatra Christmas along with the Charlie Brown albums. Yeah, those are mandatory. All I got is a rock. Funky Frank says, vinyl is awesome. It is. Cool pumpkin emoji. Tim Allen says, Craft Recordings do a fantastic job on their pressings. They do. This is high quality. 12 per side on a 10-inch. Right? Now, a lot of those are angle recordings, so they're like stingers and things, but still, it's a lot of music. Burmese Color Needles did a video recently of a photograph that uses a prosthetic leg as a phonograph that uses a prosthetic leg as a horn speaker. Wow. I need Jethro Tull hits on vinyl, 4-disc. Wow, that would be cool. Oh, wow. Something's so expensive right now. Okay, need to head out. Scott has left, but thank you, Scott. Appreciate it as always, my friend. All right, next album that I picked up for $4.95. This is Sentimentally Yours by Patsy Cline, and this is part of the MCA, I think it was 1988 series that all had this pink back and this artwork here. And they released every album of hers except for That's How a Heartache Begins. They did self-titled. They did showcase. They did this. They did greatest hits. They did last recordings, which isn't even an album. They did the complete set. And I'm going to do a video just on my MCA late 80s Patsy Cline stuff. Still has, remember these little holographic CD labels? And let's see, compact disc, compact price. It's part of the Decca thing there. This was her third album released right before her passing, featuring the original artwork with the hype. I have versions of this without the hype. Obviously, anytime you're going for an album cover and you're collecting on art, it is always desirable to go for items without the hype. However, this is cool to find on CD. This does not turn up every day. So $5 was well worth the price. Also, these use this interesting vertical flip out liner notes. And we've got a cool logo right there. We got track listing and a little bio. They usually include the original liner notes and sometimes updated liner notes. The Patsy Cline International Fan Club. I wonder what would happen if you mailed something there today. And then chronology, which kind of gives you a timeline of her life and career. The actual discs, these are all high quality pressings. It's not an exciting print, though. It's basic black screen print on the disc. So yeah, pick that up, and that completes my collection of those MCAs. If they only did that one other album, and that was a core album release. She had so much music recorded that by the time she passed away, there was still albums being released for years afterwards. All right, we got 3 more to go. The song I want is called Jacqueline. Interesting. Check that out. Have you tried out the spin bass speaker? I've heard of that. Let me look that up. I haven't tried it, but I'll look it up. Some really cool things in development, by the way, you guys. Oh, I've heard of this. Yeah, you put it under. Yeah, how did somebody sent me something on this? I don't know if it was like a press release or somebody just talked about it. Yeah, you put it on. It kind of goes against everything that we're supposed to do. You're not supposed to stack your record player on a speaker. You're not even supposed to put your speaker anywhere near your record player. Then you may be saying, well, what about all-in-ones? Well, those use 2.5 watt speakers, so it's not an issue. However, yeah, this one makes me kind of wonder about that. So anyway, I'll have to check that out. That's interesting. That's really, really cool. How many turntables do you own? Right now, I don't know. There's probably 15 knocking around here somewhere. Look this up. Jethro Tull Aqualung, the ultimate set. Okay, I'm looking it up. That's the one I was talking about. Let me check it out. Interesting. Wow, $300 at Walmart. I'll have to check that. If that's on Amazon, or not Amazon, if that's on Apple Music, I might give that a listen. All right, the next thing I picked up was Beatles, the Red Album, on the old way of putting multiple discs in one case, one of these big old double jewel cases. This is the 93 pressing and digital remastered, and this is Capital US release. I love the James Bond intro to help. Made that short, which is doing pretty good. I love the fact so very much. I love the fact so very, very much that the disc background on this is red. That the every part of this is red plastic as well. We have, why is Beetle? Oh my gosh. Okay. This is funny. This is hilarious. Actually, I got burned by a beginner's mistake. I have not opened this since I got back. One of the worst habits I have about record hunting. Oh, it's so bad. Never do this. Never do this. I've been burned more than once. Always open it up and make sure the right thing is inside. Okay? Because sometimes it's not. And that just bit me in the butt right here. I picked this up, by the way, $7.95. Which is I wouldn't pay much more than that for this. I open this up and I see this, but look what's back there. That doesn't look like the right disc. Any guesses? Dun, 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 dun. It's the one. So I got an incomplete set. I have Beatles 1, which this is a great album. I happen to already have it. Maybe we'll do a giveaway or something of this. But this is the Beatles 1. And it's missing disc 2. So there you go. I probably would have passed on it if I knew that. These have really good liner notes with a lot of artwork. You can see the artwork in there. You guys are the ones that taught me about the red and blue albums. There's a little thing in there that make you get the other album. And that this would be a great starting point. Because I remember that record show in Tampa I went to a couple years ago. And I was like overwhelmed. And I didn't know where. I knew I wanted to start collecting Beatles, but I didn't know what to start with. You guys are like, relax. Just go and start with the red and blue. And I did. And I thought, okay, I'm good. I got both on vinyl. And I thought I'd be done. But then by then I was so intrigued that I kept looking. And to this day, it's led me down a very dark path. Just kidding. It's been an expensive path. I try to do it affordably. CDs are a lot more affordable than vinyl. But yeah, I totally did that. It's like $200, but one day I will get it. That's a grail record, right? When you find one that's so expensive, but one day my grail record is one of the folks on here said that they were going to send me one. I hope it happens. But somebody said they were going to send me a Patsy Cline 78. To me, that's my grail record. And if I ever get my hands on a Patsy Cline 78, that will be the first time I've framed a record. I will listen to it once. I'll probably digitize it, and I will frame it, and I will look at it, and I will smile every day because that is really special. Spin bass is great. I have one. I totally get they probably engineered it, so that's not an issue. From a practicality standpoint, it's awesome because it can turn any, and we're talking about spin bass again. Sorry, I'm kind of ADD tonight. But spin bass can turn any record player into an all-in-one because you get speakers right underneath the unit. So, I mean, I was hearing all week. It's amazing, especially that song. I got to check that out. You've got me interested, Super Prince. I'll check it out. Internet is back on. Did you lose network? I hate it when that happens. Super Prince, it happens to me so many times. About the missing thing. Well, I thought it was. Oh, okay. Love those big CD cases. If you want a good 4 CD set, Shelly Manne and His Men at Blackhawk, 1959. I'll check that out. Thanks for the tip. Some shoppers intentionally mix up the CDs and in vinyl. Come on, people be better. You know what I mean? But that doesn't surprise me. I have a question for you. Do you have any hip hop on vinyl? Not as much as I would like to. I do have. This perennial classic. I would like to get Paul's Boutique on vinyl. I actually listen to a lot of Christian hip hop. That's not Christian hip hop, but I listen to a lot of Christian hip hop, and like NF is one of the newer artists. It's fantastic. My son and I really bond over hip hop, and I really like to listen to a lot of that stuff. There's used to be that there was no good Christian rap, and it has come to pass in the last 15 or so years that they're making really, really, really good stuff. So NF is on the top of the list. Oh gosh. Oh man, don't make me look through my playlist again. But there's a lot of good stuff out there now. And fun stuff. Good music. I need to get more on vinyl. Very hard and very expensive. Yeah. I'll see if I can make it through this stream with the internet like it is. I'm sorry you're having trouble with your internet. Super jealous. Okay, next I got the Blue album. And this one has both because I've listened to this. But the problem with this is it has water damage. It was basically flooded, and I pray that it was water. But you can see some warpage on the back there. Everything's intact. The discs weren't infected. There's no scratching. The only affected thing are the staples are rusted a little bit there. You can see. So it's probably full immersion water. Thankfully, which is weird because the pamphlet isn't warped at all. Like this, the print is still immaculate. Or maybe it was just in a humid environment. Maybe it wasn't flooded. Maybe now that I'm thinking through that, it probably wasn't flooded. It was probably in a humid environment. But the same thing, the blue, this one has both discs. This was new. It was actually brand new. That's why there's no sticker on it, because it was on the shrink wrap. It was new in the shrink. I paid the same price, $7.95, same as the Red album, but it had been broken open. You know, it was kind of a new old stock thing. All right, and finally, for $8.95, I picked up the soundtrack to The Force Awakens, Star Wars. Switching gears. A beautiful digipack case, and hard to really convey how sparkly that is on the front. All those stars, glitter, and it's just the packaging, top notch. And the disc is in there, and that's even better. And there's a thick insert, a good quality booklet. Artwork is fantastic. I love Star Wars and Star Trek music. You can flip through this together a bit. So nice to have the physical thing. I'm a fan of the Disney Star Wars. I think they're fine. I know they've deviated from canon, and they made a lot of people have issue, which surprises me. But if I were given as a filmmaker an unlimited budget, and I said, okay, self, I'll get that later. Get together the best crew, the best people, the best actors, best story, the best visual effects, the best editing, and make the coolest Star Wars movie that you can possibly do, spared no expense. And if I came out of that scenario with these movies that Disney has done, I would feel that was the best that could be done, personally. So I've never really understood all the hate that they get, but I understand that's a divided topic. I personally like all of them. I like the prequels, which I probably would like the sequels better than the prequels. But at this point, I like the prequels and the sequels. By the way, if you have not seen the new Ahsoka series, it's, in my opinion, even better than Mandalorian. I think it's a fantastic, fantastic series. Florida is humid. Yeah, like 98% humidity yesterday. Florida is so weird. Like I'm learning so much about Florida. Like you can be standing in full air conditioning and the thermometer is 70 degrees and still sweat. And it's not because of the heat, it's because of the humidity. It's weird. It's really, really weird. One question: would you still be interested in a 2-record Beatles album if it has lost one of them, or would rather have a complete? No, I'd be fine with it. Absolutely fine with it. It's I'm not like a perfectionist completist when I collect. I can't afford to be. So, yeah, if it's something that I don't have, I would really appreciate that. That would be great. They never have Han, Luke, and Leia in a scene. Well, they've had Han, Luke, and Leia in all of them in the sequels, but it's not been at the same time. I don't think. Is that what you mean? Speaking of Star Wars soundtracks, I have Tron, both the 80s movie and the 2010 on vinyl. That's awesome. Still trying to muster enough courage to ride the Tron ride. It looks a lot of fun. I'll be honest, 2010 soundtrack is amazing. Have it on vinyl. Yeah, I forget which one I have on vinyl too. I've got, I think, Force Awakens, or is that this? No, that's this. I think I have The Last Jedi. I think I have the final one. I think I have Episode 9 on vinyl. It's actually a warped pressing, unfortunately, enough to give you a hair of wow and flutter, unfortunately. But I've been trying to press it flat again, but it's still cool. If you haven't experienced Kentucky weather, dude, the rain here and the lightning is like such an intensity that it's incredible. It's like the sky will just be strobing. I've hardly ever seen anything like that in Denver. I remember there was one storm. There was so much lightning in Denver that was strobing. We had just bought a house and moved into it within the first weekend, and it was one of the biggest storms where it was just strobing. It was absolutely strobing. And a lot of the storms here will do that. And you'll have the lightning that's way up in the clouds, and it just kind of lights things up, and it just starts strobing. And the intensity of the rain, it's so heavy, so powerful. So yeah, we're adjusting to the weather. Even though we've been here at all points in the year, we haven't been here consecutively until now. So going on 7-8 months now, I think it is. The vinyl is blue and white, see-through. That's awesome, Super Prince. That's great. 2010 is made by Dad. Oh, okay. Cool. All right, my friends. That's going to do it. That's all I had to go over. An hour and 12 minutes well spent for me, because you guys are awesome, and I just have so much fun hanging out with you. I appreciate all the knowledge that you impart my way, and I appreciate making the time on a Saturday night just to hang out and share and do a little show and tell. These are the things that I picked up recently, and who knows what the next things will be. Always love hearing what you guys are up to as well. As far as content coming in the near future, I'm not 100% sure. I've got a couple different directions I can take a couple of different things. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do that. Probably we'll be filming tomorrow or Monday with a video posted soon thereafter. So you guys are awesome. I appreciate you so much. God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful night. Happy record ending. See you next time.